Hey there guys, it's your good pal Wiggly, and welcome to the bonus video for Metroid Samus Returns. In this video we're going to be talking about anything that I may have glossed over about the game in my initial playthrough, as well as talking about interesting bits of trivia and whatnot that I found while digging, while looking for info about this game and the original Metroid 2 Return of Samus. If there's anything that I missed or anything that comes out after the point of this video, as this game is fairly new and new stuff is still in fact coming out, something that we'll be talking about later, please absolutely feel free to put it in the comments. I would love to hear about more. I read all the comments, and I would love to hear about more bits and trivia about this wonderful, wonderful franchise. So starting off, I want to show that just like Zero Mission, and just like I said that I was going to do, I went ahead and I gave Fusion Mode a try, and I 100%ed it. And goddamn, it's so hard. It is so hard. So Fusion Mode is basically a very hard mode where you take 4 times damage, and you have to beat the game and scan the Metroid amiibo in order to unlock it. As you can see, I 100%ed it, and honestly, I might genuinely prefer it to the base game. I had so much fun with it. It really made me take my time and strategize, and it was just fantastic. Up until the point where you get the gravity suit, where it becomes a bit more manageable, it's pretty rock your balls difficult until that point. And I can't recommend it more if you are a Metroid enthusiast, as, in my opinion, I've played the hyper mode difficulties on all 3 Prime games. I've played the hard mode in Zero Mission, and that Fusion mode in Metroid Samus Returns is by far the most difficult thing that I've experienced thus far in my Metroid fun times. So, starting off, if you boot up a file and head to options after you've beaten the game, it'll say you have reached a milestone of item collection completion. As a result, new art has been unlocked in the gallery, and we're going to go over that art today. First up, let's go ahead and check out that gallery, shall we? Chozo Memories. I have looked at this beforehand. For anybody wanting blind reactions to it, I'm sorry, but I did it in research to see if it was anything interesting worth showing. So let's take a peek. 100% does not affect your ending. It only affects getting these images. So first up, we have an image of Chozo's landing on planet SR388. Wonderful, wonderful, super realistic looking art, and I love it so much. We have like these 2 like scientists and this old one landing on SR388 initially. And it's awesome remix of Samus Returns. Here they are exploring said planet. One of them's back there looking around at stuff, and they are collecting Aeon, it would appear, in these little jars, which is really interesting. Here we see soldiers in the back, kind of with like Varia suit shoulders almost, fighting off the enemies that drop on you. And these are scientists over on the right doing stuff, and you can see in the back that giant robot that we fought initially. That's called the Diggernaut. I didn't know the name until after I'd beaten it. Thank you guys in the comments for letting me know that. And you can see like Chozo sort of machinists, I don't know what to call them, engineers building the Diggernaut back there. Really cool. And here we see the X-Parasite. The X-Parasite existed before the Chozo got there, which means that the Metroids, their natural predator, aren't their natural predator after all. They were introduced after the fact. We can see soldiers up there at the top left fighting off the X-Parasite, and I love the fact that they're like splatted on their shields over there. And on the bottom you can see the 3 stages of the X-Parasite doing what it does, latching on to its foe, taking over its body, and after the fact, seeing that it transforms them into something much deadlier and stronger. Here we have scientists in the lab. So I'm not quite sure if this means that the Chozo created the Metroid, or if they just like harvested them here, but this is really cool. So this is the lab in Area 7, most probably, and you can see that they're like researching the X parasite, and I think they made the Metroids. I think. I'm not quite sure, but the implications here are really interesting. So, as we can see by this next image, they either bred or created a bunch of Metroids and set them loose on planet SR388 in order to wipe out the X parasite, which is really, really damn cool. Moving forward. We have another image of less X parasites. In fact, it looks like one of the last, if not the last one, is being eaten by a Metroid up there on the top, and that soldier's not having it. He's ready for it. And it looks like the Metroids are docile toward the Chozo, which is really interesting. Again, further leading to the idea that they bred or created them. Here we have them going deeper and deeper into the planet, and the Metroids beginning to evolve and attacking them, the Chozo that is, and that becoming a bit of a problem. We have a bunch of Alpha Metroids here. And there in the back, we have a Omega Metroid ready to attack the three that arrived on the planet initially, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. It also potentially implies that the Chozo were the ones who filled the planet with the purple water and stuff, which is cool. So it looks like they called for help, and the yeah. So, it looks like they called for help, and help, in fact, arrived. However, it wasn't help. The higher-ups, or some sort, with an arm cannon, slaughtered them. The researchers who arrived on the island initially. And this is really, really interesting, because this is the very first time, to my knowledge, that the Chozo are ever painted in some sort of negative or violent light. And this is an interesting direction. We've never really explored the history of the Chozo, honestly. We know that they colonize on planets and they research stuff and yada yada yada, but this is the first time they're ever painted as conquerors. It's so weird. It's so cool. And the unveil, if you get all of the items, that little creepy as hell unveil. If I was a kid, that would scare the shit out of me. That they just slaughtered them right then and there. That's pretty edgy for Nintendo standards, and I appreciate it. So I think this whole Chozo Memories bit is really cool, and I'm excited to see what it potentially implies for the future of the franchise. Next up, I want to talk about amiibo function. So not only do we have Chozo Memories, and as we've said before, you can scan the Metroid amiibo to unlock Fusion Mode for a New Game Plus playthrough. But also, we can scan other Metroid amiibo. So I'm going to turn on my camera here. Hello, here we are in real life land, hand reveal. Yeah, so this is what my recording setup looks like. It's pretty neat. Here's proof that I'm playing it on an actual 3DS for anybody who doubted. And we're gonna go ahead and hop into the amiibo function. And we're gonna scan the Samus amiibo. It says the missile reserve tank has already been acquired. Concept art has been unlocked in the gallery. Next up, we're going to scan the Zero Suit Samus amiibo from Smash Bros. The energy reserve tank has already been acquired, of course. And we unlocked music, the sound test. Next up, the Samus Returns Samus amiibo doing the pose from the original box art, which is cool as hell. The Aeon Reserve Tank has already been acquired. We unlocked art from Metroid 2 Return of Samus! That's cool as hell. I love that so much. That's so great. And last but not least, of course, if we scan the Squishy Metroid amiibo, you unlock the ability to use fusion mode. And over here I have the Dark Samus and Ridley amiibo for any Metroid enthusiasts who wanted to see these as well. And that, my friends, is all 6 amiibo. So if we head on over to the gallery, we can see that we have in fact unlocked all these things. Where's Red Soil? I must know. I must find Red Soil. Area 5, where's it at? Yeah, there it is. Alright, so we have the sound test, and we have these 2 concept art galleries, which I'll be going over the art in more high quality to show you guys the best images of those that I can. As we can see, the baby Metroid joins Samus in the cockpit after you've beaten the game, which is really great. And yeah, so let's go ahead and hop over to post-commentary Wiggly, where he can do all the work talking about art and whatnot. Before we hop into the art and whatnot, I want to show off some things that I discovered during my Fusion Mode playthrough. The first of which being the fact that during the Metroid Queen fight, after you counter her, you can in fact roll into a ball and go into her stomach in the classic Metroid Queen fashion, using the lightning armor and lay a power bomb to do a bunch of damage. And here is what that looks like. Also, you are in fact able to counter Proteus Ridley, which is what he's called in this game, and here is the cool-ass animation for that. Speaking of the Fusion Mode playthrough I did, I was very happy to discover the fact that the Fusion suit, which is one of my favorite suits in all of Metroid, looks phenomenal in Samus Returns, and I wanted to show that off to you guys. So here is the Fusion suit in base form. Here is the Varia suit with its weird greenish tint. And here is the wonderful purple and blue Gravity suit. I love how it looks, and I really like the way it looks in Morph Ball form. I wasn't able to find much about cut content for either game, to be honest. Samus Returns, because it's so new, there's not a lot found out about it yet, so we'll probably learn more about that as time goes on. And Return of Samus doesn't have a lot at all. It has a few boring unused screens and empty unused rooms. I'll leave a link to the cutting room floor page for it in the description if you're really interested in that, but I didn't find it interesting enough to put in this video. While I wasn't able to find much about cut content for either game, I was able to find quite a bit about the development cycle for Samus Returns in particular. Most notably the fact that this game came out of the desire for Mercury Steam to remake Metroid Fusion, which was rejected. However, that gives me a lot of excitement, and I really hope that happens someday. Please, 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 please. Now to get into the really cool stuff. there was quite a bit of merch that came out alongside Samus Returns, starting with, of course, the amiibo. Here is a high-quality render of the Samus amiibo, which looks fantastic with her doing the pose from the covers of both games. And here is the amazing, amazing Metroid amiibo. I've already shown what these do, but the Metroid amiibo is squishy, and that is worth its own mention alone, making it one of my favorite amiibo alongside the Yarn Yoshis and the glow-in-the-dark Boo. Here's some really, really cool pictures of the amiibo that Nintendo of America posted on their Instagram around that time. Most of the images that I'm going to show from this point onward in the video I found on metroid.fandom.com and metroid.retropixel.net. Links to those sites in the description. They are fantastic resources for Metroid fans. There's so much info on both of those sites, especially metroid.fandom.com. Links in the description for those two sites in case you want to do your own digging and find out some cool information about the Metroid franchise. It would be a damn shame if I went this whole video without mentioning the fact that Samus, the Metroid series, got a whole console variant dedicated to them, which is incredible for the fact that this series has kind of always been like under the radar, kind of minorly shafted by Nintendo. Here is the new 3DS XL, the Samus edition. So cool. I wish I had one. Maybe someday if I get super into collecting, I might try to find one. But here is the box for it. And here is what it looks like open with its yellow bottom with the Metroid logo of a screw attack on the bottom. There were also some really neat rewards on My Nintendo around that time, such as the Samus Returns Nintendo 3DS theme, and this sick-ass wallpaper that I'm using on my PC currently. I love this render of Samus here, this dashing pose that she's doing, running toward the different stages of the Metroid evolution line. This wallpaper's great. If you pre-ordered the game in Europe, you could also get this really, really great Legacy edition of Samus Returns that came with a 40-page art book, a 25-track soundtrack CD, this pin, this really cool-looking Morph Ball 3D keyring, a download code for the original Game Boy game, and also this fucking awesome steelbook that looks like the Game Boy cartridge. I love this Legacy edition. Too bad that in America we only got this dinky little pixelated Samus keychain that looks worse than the one they got. If and only if you pre-ordered it at GameStop specifically. I mean, at least we got a special edition that was $10 more that came with the soundtrack CD, right? Moving on from being a bit salty, there was more merch such as some socks, some more keychains, a sticker, a lanyard. I think these were all at the Nintendo New York store. I'm not 100% sure on that, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that's what they were. There was also a pretty decent Culture Fly collector's box that came with yet another keychain, a duffel bag, an art print of Samus's ship flying toward the planet at the beginning, this Zero Suit Samus pen, spiral notebook, Zero Suit beanie, this Baby Metroid vinyl statue, and also the thing I really want is the Morph Ball squishy. I really hope I can find that someday. I want it so bad. Here were some shirts that were made around the time. Nothing really impressive. I'm just happy that Metroid got representation like this. And there was also a puzzle of the cover artwork. Pretty neat, I suppose. Again, nothing crazy. And now let's move on to the artwork, starting, of course, with the box art. Here is the box art of the original Metroid 2 Return of Samus, with her doing that, of course, iconic pose of holding her arm cannon and like half kneeling. I really like this pose. I'm glad that it's like synonymous with Metroid 2. The PAL version of this box art basically looks the exact same, and the Japan box art doesn't look too different. I think it looks a little bit cooler still. I just like the way their boxes were shaped in Japan. And here's the box art used for Samus Returns, with her and her new design mimicking the exact same pose from the Game Boy game. Something that I haven't mentioned so far is the fact that they gave Samus a new Y-shaped visor in Samus Returns, and I really hope it stays. Some people don't like it, but I think it looks sick as hell. So I really hope that sticks around. The PAL version of his box art has a much better background. The PAL version looks better despite being really similar. I really like all the added stars and whatnot. I don't know why they have different box art, but the PAL version looks better. God damn it, Europe. And here is the Japanese version, which is basically identical to the American one, but Japanese players also got different box art for the special edition, and it's not great. I mean, it looks kind of cool with like the dark lighting and Samus's new visor, but I much prefer the regular box art to it. Return of Samus was featured on the cover of Volume 31 of Nintendo Power, with Samus doing this really cool yet at the same time super goofy pose that I like a lot. And also in, I believe, issue 26 of Nintendo Power, you got this even goofier looking poster that you could cut out and use. I love this poster, it's so silly. There was also this piece of artwork that was used in magazines around the time, and holy shit, this artwork is great. Why haven't we seen more of this? And speaking of amazing artwork used for magazines, check out this piece of Samus fighting an Alpha Metroid that was used in the Famitsu column. Holy wow. And here's another piece of her fighting as Zeta Metroid. This is some of the best artwork that we've ever received from the Metroid series, and I want an entire art book that looks like this. I'm in awe. And before we move on to what's contained in the two galleries, I saved the best piece of art for last. To commemorate the release of Samus Returns, the developers at Mercury Steam got a cake of an Alpha Metroid and Samus. Look at this Alpha Metroid cake. Mercury Steam, you did an incredible job with this game, and I hope that every bite was as delicious as it could have possibly been. Thank you. And that was just about everything that I wanted to talk about. I'm going to let the art from the two galleries play and let the music play over it, and I'm not going to commentate over it because there are 72 pieces to show off, and if I talked about each one, we'd be sitting at an over half-hour video. So, without further ado, thank you all for watching my series of Let's Play Metroid Samus Returns Blind. I've been Guildmaster Wiggly, and I hope that you had as good of a time as I did. I'll see you guys with Super Metroid.